Welcome to the Natural Parents Podcast, where we will cover all things faith, health, family, and wealth through a biblical perspective of putting things in life that matter most back into order. We're reminded of Matthew 6:33, where Jesus said, "But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all of these things shall be added to you." Join us each week as we focus on what truly matters most in this life and passing those values on to the next generation. This is the Natural Parents Podcast with Ryan and Abbie Hukin.
All right, welcome back, guys. Today we're super excited to share with you an interview with our good friend, Dr. Levi Miller with Excelsior Family Chiropractic. Dr. Levi, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, please.
Yeah, no, thanks, Dr. Ryan. Abbie, really appreciate you guys having me on. I know we work together, but with the two locations, we're not always together. So this is a great little change of pace. But I grew up on a farm. So I know you guys are in Sullivan, but I grew up on a farm north in Silex, Missouri. Been married to my beautiful wife, Shannon, for 3 years now. And we have almost an 11-month-old son, Dominic. So he is a little terror, a little pudge bucket. He is a funny little kid. We used to joke he sounds like a pterodactyl. He's screeching and smiling and laughing, and his mouth is always open. So he's always ready for food, always ready for a good time. We're just a simple, happy little family. Love going to church together. That's probably like the highlight of our week. And then going for a lot of walks. So whenever Dominic is unhappy, we go outside, and that always seems to help. So that's a little bit about me. Other than being a chiropractor and loving what I do, working with you guys. I love spending time with my family. Basketball has always been my sport. My knees didn't agree with it in high school, but they agree now. So any chance I get, I love shooting hoops, really just playing any sport outside. I'm just a big kid, so I love playing games, whatever it is, just getting outside and moving.
That's awesome. So with chiropractic, what led you to be a chiropractor?
Yeah. I feel like it's a very normal story for most chiropractors. Like, they had an injury in high school is kind of what gets a lot of people in. So for me, that was it. I went to a chiropractor my entire life, just different chiropractors. My mom probably got me started when I was 2 or 3. But then in high school, I broke my back. So of all things, running cross country, and I was having nerve pain shooting down my legs. And I was really scared. From that, it then led into knee injuries, knee injury after knee injury. And it got to the point where I could barely walk. My knees were always swollen. And as a young man, you're supposed to be in your prime, feel invincible. I felt the opposite of that. And I was always in pain and just didn't feel right. And so going to chiropractors, they were the only thing that ever helped. No medication helped. And through this journey, I've learned a lot about my own health. And now I have perspective to help other people with that. So it was all injury related. It was all a painful story. It took about 5 years to get to the other side, but I love where I'm at now, and I feel great. I can walk. I can do all the things that I couldn't do before without pain. So it's not just pain, but like for me, that's what it was at the time. Because when you're 17, 18, you shouldn't be feeling like you're 85.
Right. And we do hear that a lot, where that story starts. It starts with a pain discussion. And I know you have taken a route within chiropractic to help people with all sorts of different things. Namely, I know you do a lot of work and do workshops and education on things all related to gut health. So how did you get there? Tell us about that. What's the chiropractic connection to gut health as well?
Oh man. You can't not talk about gut health and the nervous system. They are just so interrelated, interconnected. To have a bowel movement every day, you have to have a well-functioning nervous system. People don't always think about that. It's not a lack of Miralax in your system that, is preventing you from going to the restroom. There's usually a neurologic component. And for me, between breaking my back and hurting my knees, I started having allergies and gut issues. Those all kind of came on at the same time. So the structure of my spine got injured, and it messed with the neurology in my gut. And so the gut is known as the second brain. So you got your first brain, then you got your second brain. So if this brain doesn't work, nothing else down below that can work properly. But same, if the second brain doesn't work, then you're going to have gut health issues. And that comes in many different symptoms and forms. But, it could be heartburn, constipation, diarrhea, a whole bunch of different things. But you just need the nervous system in order to have healthy gut, healthy immune system. The immune system starts in your gut from the moment you're born, when babies come out that birth canal. So getting coated and all that good healthy bacteria. So it's not just neurology. It's not just structural, functions in the gut. It's everything. It's the bacteria. It's the neurology. It's really a big puzzle. And so there's a lot that goes into it. And so I'm specifically looking at the nervous system. But it's a big component to gut health. So it's overlooked and misunderstood many times.
Yeah. And, I remember whenever Ryan was in school, and that was like my experience. I had gut issues growing up, and then it was like I started getting adjusted and it started getting better. And I was like, what? And it wasn't until like he had explained just like the connection. I'm like, what do you mean? What does my back have to do with my gut? And even when you say that, like your nervous system, can you explain how does like misalignment or needing to be adjusted, how can that really impact our digestion and gut health?
Sure. Yeah. Well, if you have like a misalignment in the spine, that puts pressure on nerves, which is tension in the body. So then your body's squeezing tight, it's trying to hold on. And so if you've ever been in a stress state and you're just frustrated with work or with traffic or whatever, you just feel tense. And when you're in that tense state, your body can't digest. It just throws everything out of whack. And we need to get the body in a more relaxed, gentle, state of ease so that it can process food. And that's what chiropractic does, because when them nerves are misfiring, then the body just goes crazy, goes out of whack, and it's going to start, miscommunicating, creating other issues. And I know, the body is super smart, but it's also confusing, because you might think, oh, like I'm having shoulder pain and that's all it is. That's where the pain is, but truly it might be your gallbladder, or, it could even be coming from your neck. But there's so many variables you got to check. And the structure of the spine is affecting all the nerves that control your large intestine, that control your stomach acid production, and many different things, your metabolism. So it's something that only chiropractors can truly look at, as far as the nerve pressure, the nerve interference. And that's what we specialize at here at Excelsior, which, thank you for inviting me and bringing me on board. But that's something, it's just a different lens that only we can focus on.
Yeah. In a joking tone, you've heard people talk about using the restroom in public, and they'll say the words like, oh, I get stage fright, right? Like, or whatever, like, yeah, I can't do that or whatever. And that's like a perfect testament to the aspect of the nervous system's role in that, right? Because if you're in this state of, we call it like fight or flight, right? Mm-hmm. There's fear-based response. You're actually not the best equipped to use your excretory faculties, right?
Yeah.
Isn't in the state to do that, because you're all stressed, worried about kind of, being in a more of a fear-based state. And so that's an extreme example, but we do see that a lot in kids, right? Where they're having this response because there's a new environment in school and all this kind of stuff. And so their gut health starts to impact the way they're able to relate. And sorry, Ab, but that was your situation. A lot of it, right? There was a lot of anxiety built around just the gut health aspects of things in general.
Mm-hmm.
So so that just on a surface level is the nervous system aspect of things. I know we talk about a lot, and I've heard you talk about, but just like big picture, but then down to the nitty gritty, like you're saying, there's actually a literal nerve connection between your gut and your brain.
Well, and you bring up a really good point, because I don't know if you guys have ever gone on a long road trip or a drive. A lot of people be like, I'm pretty regular every day. And then as soon as I have this long trip, I don't go to the restroom. I don't have a bowel movement, because you're thinking about that trip. You're a little nervous. There's, things you got to pack. You're anxious about the drive, the weather, whatever. And so it throws off your nervous system, and you're tense, and then you don't have a bowel movement. And so trying to handle those stressors, because, as you guys know, thoughts, traumas, toxins, what you think is also kind of your reality. So if you're thinking about stress and not when to go in a public restroom, like your body's going to be like, okay, we're experiencing this, so let's shut down, let's clam up, and let's not, have a bowel movement.
So in just like what you've seen either in practice or in research and stuff like that, what is that connection? What is connecting the gut and the gut health to the nervous system, the brain, those types of things?
Yeah. Well, there's a really cool connection. It's the gut-brain axis. So we know just through neurology research that the vagus nerve, cranial nerve 10, comes off the brainstem. It's connected to all the organs in your gut. And so it's more of a parasympathetic, which, as you guys know, but our listeners might not know, is more of the rest and digest. It's when your body's more relaxed and able to process food and create new cells. So that right there is a cool connection to where within seconds of eating food, that cranial nerve 10, that vagus nerve is sending signals back and forth. And so, food can make you happy or can make you sad, but typically it makes us happy. It's kind of our comfort zone. So within seconds of eating food, because of that gut brain connection, you might start feeling happiness. Dopamine is released and all kinds of other things. But it's a pretty amazing, powerful structure, but it's also a potential area where pathogens can get in and you can have other sicknesses and illnesses. So it can go both ways. So our job as chiropractors is to make sure that connection is processing and working properly. So they're very, very interconnected and very powerful connection.
So how can gut issues manifest in the body in other ways besides for just things that we would, have a symptom and be like, oh, that's a gut issue? What are some other ways that our bodies can show those signs and symptoms?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. A lot of times it can be as simple as someone who has repeat infections. So if you feel like you always have a cold, that could be an indicator there's something going on in your gut. We know specifically if people use antibiotics, if they take antibiotics for, the common cold, ear infections, whatever it is, that's going to destroy a lot of the good bacteria in your gut. And so that's something we need to know if you've taken those in the past. Another symptom you might have is headaches. So some people, after eating, they get headaches on the top of the head. So that's another indicator that something might not be right. And I know I mentioned it earlier, you could have shoulder pain if you're having a gallbladder issue. You could have kind of just general aching and pain under the ribs or on the muscles in the back. And so a lot of times when there's an internal issue, the body's going to refer pain out. So, if you've ever seen someone or heard of someone with a heart attack, the common signs and symptoms are pain down the arm and pain in the jaw. It's not pain in the heart. They don't feel the pain there usually. So same with the gut. If you're having issues somewhere along the GI tract, it could present just as back pain or low back pain, along with a few other symptoms. You could have skin rashes, for example, many other symptoms. But if the gut isn't working properly, it can't get out all those toxins. And so the skin is the best way to get that out if you're not having a bowel movement every day.
Yeah, and I feel like in kids especially, we really see the skin rashes being a thing whenever it's tied to the gut, because like you said, skin really just tells us everything that is going on. So to wrap us up here, can you give us a few tips of things that we can do to improve our gut health today?
One of the big one is what you drink. So you need to filter your water. So our water is going to be filtered one way or the other. It's either going to be filtered outside your body or inside your body. And so that is one of the biggest steps. There's just a lot of toxins in our water these days. Another one is don't eat late at night. I know we all like our late night snacks, but if you eat a bunch of food and then go lay down, yeah, guilty. Guilty. If you do that though, it's just sitting in your stomach and then you go to bed, you fall asleep and the body stops breaking down and digesting food. And then it just sits there all night. It doesn't, go through that natural process like it should. And nobody likes that. It throws everything off.
So additionally, of course, as things always go, getting adjusted, super good for the gut health. You talked about the vagus nerve and its connection. There can be something out of alignment there that's affecting people getting adjusted, getting checked by a neurologically focused chiropractor. Super good idea, in addition to the things Dr. Levi just mentioned. But Doc, tell us where everybody can connect with you, how they can get more information. I know you have some like workshop stuff on gut health, things like that. So share with the listeners that way.
Yeah. Well, you can always find us online on Instagram. You can follow the Excelsior page. I'm connected there. But then, as far as workshops, we actually recorded the gut health workshop. So I know it's tough for people to get out and, putting the kids to bed, just daily life. So if they want to follow us, they can get in contact with us online. We can send them a recording of that gut workshop. All things gut health. They can keep those slides, get a lot of good information, have a holistic approach to gut health and how they can just improve their overall lives.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for carving out some time in your schedule to share with us, share with the listeners, and talk all things life and health in general. Can't wait to the next time that we chat again.
From the bottom of our hearts, we want to thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with someone you know and leave a review. By doing so, we're able to grow this community of amazing people just like you and raise a generation of children that know God and do His will on earth. We'll see you next time.